looking at me, I've never felt so alive and free. When you're looking at me, I've never felt so happy. And I've heard of a love that comes once in a lifetime, and I'm pretty sure that you are that love of mine. 'Cause I'm in a field of dandelions, wishing on everyone that you'd be mine. And I see forever in your eyes. I feel okay when I
Yo, chat. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Freedom and Tips. Yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the supply and demand. Please note, welcome to a live stream. My name is Zion. I'm going to explain how I use supply and demand in my trading. This is not financial advice, just educational purpose only. So I'm gonna do a back testing. That's a replay. I'm gonna use a replay tool. This is not a live chat. This is not gonna be a live chat. This is gonna be a replay chat. So I'm gonna do a quick replay so I can identify the supply and demand. Let me check it back. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, kindly do so. Click the subscribe button so that we can keep on making videos like this. Yeah, maybe I'm just gonna stop there. For those of you that knows how to use the TradingView, so I'm gonna use 2 time frame on this. I'm gonna use 2 time frame, just a 15 minutes and 2 minutes time frame. So before we get started, so you guys need to know what is supply and what is demand. Supply is the base that price rally price rally with a force on that zone, leaving a footprint. You can call that place a supply or you can call that place a demand. So I'm just gonna make the 15 minute my air time frame on this one. One sec, please. So I'm quickly gonna identify my supply zone here on the 15 minutes, and I'm gonna show you guys how I trade them. So as you can see, I'm gonna zoom in like this. So if I wanna make the 15 minutes my higher time frame, as you can see, let me show you guys how I get to mark my supply level. So first of all, you're gonna identify the trend. On the 15 minutes, you can see the market was breaking structures to the downside. So now we're gonna be looking for supply. Since we are breaking structures to the downside, so we're gonna be looking for supply. Let me take this backward again. As you guys can see, we just took out this low. This is how you're gonna identify the supply. This was the nearest supply. You can call this the nearest supply. The nearest supply is the last bullish candle before the drop down. So you can also call that a supply. You can also call this point a supply. But we have the key supply at this point. This is where I call my key supply zone. So I call this place my key supply. The reason why I call that place my key supply is because the rally that took out this low started from this point. So now, if this trend is still gonna continue, we should get an entry here on the 2 minute. So let's just play the chart. I'm gonna make this a little bit slow. I don't want it to be that fast. I'm not gonna play the chart. You guys see the market just tapped into the supply zone. So immediately the market tapped into the supply zone. You're not just gonna take the sell. For me, this is what I always look out for. Yep. I might just call this mine. I might just call that my potential CH. And I might just label this point as a liquidity. What do I want to see a price pull back up to this level. So if this supply is gonna hold, let me drop down to 2 minutes. This is why I said I'm gonna use 2 time frames. So this was gonna break for structure on the 2 minutes. And this is our change. This is IBOS. The reason why I'm labeling this IBOS is because they are internal structures, and all this is happening at my supply level. Oh, this one is gonna be internal CH. This is internal CH. This simply means that the market has changed from buying to selling. So this is my confirmation. Immediately I have this internal break of structure after this CH. Then I might just wait for a pullback to this 2 minute supply zone. So this is where I'm gonna take the entry. As you guys can see, we have the supply at that point, and we also have a selling imbalance at this point. On my entry time frame, so you guys can see the bigger supply on the 15 minutes. So on the 2 minutes, you can see we have a change in delivery, and this is a break of structure. And I'm waiting for price to pull back to this zone. You can see we have overlapping at this level. We have the supply, we have the selling imbalance, and we have the liquidity also right here. You can call this point the trendline liquidity. So let's just trade price. As you guys can see, price just went in there. Yep, that's our sell candle at this point. Then our stop loss might be ahead of this point. Yeah. For these points, because if price should eventually take out this high, this selling scenario is over. So we're gonna just put our stop loss at this point, and we're gonna aim for just 1:3. This 1:3 simply means if your risk $1, I'm making $3 on this trade. If this trade goes in my direction. So I'm only taking these cells, just using the true time frame. So now we have this. So as you guys can see, price went back to my entry. We got tapped in and price fell down to my take profit. Just by using simple the simple steps from the 15-minute supply, the supply that causes this move. So this is the 15-minute. If we want to hold this trade down here, let's see if it's gonna be possible. This is just a replay. This is not a live chat. You can also go and do this on your own replay to see the results. So as you guys can see, the supply that causes this move also did the same thing. After taking out this liquidity, the market decided to drop back down to this lowest point right here. So that's for the supply. We still have the key supply right here. Let me just keep this aside. Yes, I can label this place my extensions. I'm gonna play price forward. So we have a new supply at this point. I call this point a supply zone because this was the last bullish candle before the placement down. The price tends to use this other supply, so we don't chase the market. We need to wait for a new supply zone to form. So we have a supply at this point. You can still call this a supply, but for me, I wouldn't trade this supply because we did not have a lot of displacement downward. I would have ignored this supply at this point. I'm only going to trade a kind of supply like this with confirmation. I'm not just going to jump into the supply. I'm going to trade something like this with confirmation. So let's see if we're going to have a confirmation in here. I'm going to take the trade, but if not, let's just keep playing price to see. You guys can see demand took over the supply. I think I have the first clue. I have my first clue at this point. I'm just going to look out for that. So we have a new supply at this level. You guys can see what just happened right there. So we had a new supply. That's the supply was still intact, but the liquidity was sitting above the supply. I'm not gonna check it out. So this is the new supply zone I saw at this point after the supply took out this liquidity and they distribute to this level, taking out this low. So that's why I said this was a very strong supply. And when I play price forward, you can see price just tap into this level and continue the trend. So that's how to identify strong supply in the market, just by following the trend. You don't need to go against the trend. So let me just identify one more supply, then we're gonna talk about the demand. I'm just gonna label this the POS. So this is the POS. So now I'm gonna change this potential partial CH to CH. The reason is before why I label it partial CH was because we did not have a break of structure. So now that we have a break of structure, we can now label it CH. That's a change of character. And after a break of structure, we always have a pullback. So this is the pullback that we had after this break of structure. So as you guys can see, we had a liquidity gap at this point, and market showed us a supply zone that took out this low. You can call here your internal partial, and this place can now be your internal BOS. You can label this point your internal BOS. So as you guys can see, we have a new supply at this point. We still have another supply here that broke the structure. If price want to continue downward, price might just use this other supply to move down, but this is the supply I would be more interested in. This other supply. Let me just play the price forward. So now I'm going to consider this place as a supply because we had a push downward, we had a displacement downward. We had another supply here, but this supply didn't hold, so we need to pay attention. When price gets to this level, we need to see a confirmation before joining the trade downward. If we don't see any confirmation, we're going to stay out. So let's see. So we now have a tap, and this is the first confirmation. So let's wait for the second confirmation. You guys see we did not have the second confirmation. So this supply, we would have stayed out of this supply because I was waiting to see something like this. And this again, so I'm gonna look for my entry at this level, but that never happened. So you see, by just following my rules, I avoid taking unnecessary trades. So you guys can hear me, right? So you guys can see the supply failed. So we would have stayed out of that. So now let's look out for this other supply. Price just went there, price just tapped in there. So now I think this bearish move bearish move might be over soon. So let's see. So we're just gonna take this out. I just want this to be plain. So now this is what we mean by demand zone. I'm just gonna label this demand. So as you guys can see, this was the zone that buyers accumulated before they rally back up. Taking out this other supply and still taking out this other supply. That means we have buying pressure around this area. That's why we call it demand. That's why we call it demand, and that's why we call this place the supply. So think of it like you want to sell something and you ask someone to buy it from you. So as simple as that. So we have another demand level at this point. Just quickly change this to. You guys can see now demand stepped in before we had supplies. Supply. This is the key supply zone. We have another supply zone at this point. This might just be a pullback. This might just act as a pullback. So let's keep playing the price forward. You guys can see price just went into the other supply, and we saw the first sign. We're gonna pay attention to it. But we have another demand level. At this point. So price might just tap into any of this demand and continue going higher. So I have this point. So all this is happening at my supply level. We have the liquidity grab at this point. So this place, I'm gonna label this place partial CH, because I need to see a break of structure and a pullback before I can join this short. If not, I'm just gonna stay out until price gets to this demand, because price might just decided to keep going higher. So that's why I always wait for confirmation. So as you guys can see, I did not have any confirmation, so I wouldn't have taken any trade. So now I need to take this out. Let's keep playing price forward. You guys can see here the demand are stepping in at this point so hard. We are the demand level at this point. So the demand level at this point. Level that demand. So we're at another demand level at this point. You see how demand is forming at our supply zone. So if you see something like this, just know that this supply is not going to hold any longer. By just tracking the demand and the supply, which people is going to take over. You see, demand took over from supply. So I'm going to take out this, and I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to label that. So this is the new demand. This is the new demand zone at this point. That's the new demand zone. We had a new demand zone at this level. We had a new demand zone at that level. See, the demand failed to hold. So supply, as you guys can see, the demand failed to hold. Then we had a supply level here. We have a supply level here. I'm gonna delete this one out. So as you guys can see, supply might be stepping in Let's see what we got. Okay, demand still, this demand still hold. See, this was a very fresh demand. This was a very fresh demand at this level. And this, as you guys can see, this was also a fresh demand. When price comes into this demand, you can see our buyer stepped in again and pushed price higher. Same thing happened here. You see this supply failed and it turned into a demand zone. It turns into a fresh demand zone. And we have a break of structure. What up, chat? Let's go, guys. I hope you guys are following up. So that's how to plot your demand and your supply. I hope you guys can come back to this video and yeah, you guys can see price just came into our demand zone. Let's see if this demand is gonna hold. So if I want to trade the demand, let's see if I can find my confirmation to trade this demand. I haven't seen any confirmation. All I'm seeing is supply entering the demand. And demand share. So you guys can see supply took over this demand. This demand is not gonna hold any longer because price tapped into this demand before. It might just give a reaction, but I'm not really sure that it's gonna hold any longer. You guys see? So whenever price tapped into a demand and price returned to that demand, it's like is it 70-30 or 50-50 that demand might still hold or not. So you guys can see when the demand is broken, you just need to take it out and look for the supply that causes that other breaker. You guys can see we are this supply at this level. And this supply at this level. I just keep going down, 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 down. We had fresh demand zone on this area. You guys remember this demand zone I marked here earlier? I just decided to bring that to the week. Yeah. So this is the new supply zone. Label that supply. Now whenever you have a demand, there must be a supply. Because for you to have a demand, there is a supply. For you to have a supply, there will be a demand. So let's see what is gonna happen here. Price respecting the low. Price just took that out. Price is bouncing around our supply zone. Yeah, price just move into our supply zone. Let's see if the supply is gonna hold. No, the supply failed. That means this demand was a very strong demand. And as you guys can see again, this video is only for educational purpose. I'm not a financial advice. This is not a financial advice. This is just for educational purpose. As you guys can see, this was a very fresh a very fresh demand zone. This demand got tapped before. That's why price couldn't react. Price just give a little bit push up. As you guys can see, this fresh demand zone did its job. Yeah, the fresh demand zone did its job quite well. So for those of you that was asking me to make a video on supply and demand, I hope you guys can learn from this. So now you guys can see we have another fresh demand here. So when price come back to this level, we might be having a reaction. So see the suppliers are out. We don't have any suppliers are out. This was the I can maybe I would just say this was my key supply before. Right.
Y'all know what it is.
So this was my key supply before.
Juicy J. Let's rage. You were gonna come to me. Here you are. But you better choose carefully. 'Cause I'm capable of anything. Of anything.
So let me extend this demand so that you guys can see what's gonna happen there when price get back to that demand. That demand was tapped already. So let's see. You guys can see how price break through this demand. I think this demand rallied to a supply. Let me check if we have a supply zone at this point. Yeah, we had a supply zone at this point. Please, if you want to ask any question, just drop a comment and I'm gonna answer to your question. We have a supply zone at this point. This is still my key supply. Let me just keep it like this. So we have a supply zone at this point. That's why the market reacted to this level. You guys can see we have a liquidity sweep. This was the liquidity sweep. Then this was the change of character. Then this was the BOS. Then this is the pullback we always trade. So this is what I always look for when price get to my supply. Then my stop loss, I'm gonna place my stop loss above this point. I always place my stop loss above the high that causes this internal break of structure. I wasn't paying attention. I was going back.
She's a beast. I call her karma. She eats your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Be careful, try not to lead her on. Shorty heart is on steroids cause her love is so strong. You may fall in love when you meet her. If you get the chance, you better keep her. She's sweet.
So you guys, I'm just extending this to the left hand side so that I can see my labeling very well. So this is the liquidity. So this is just what I need to see at my supply level to take a trade. I'm just giving out the vital information right now. You guys should just go and backtest this and see. It works like maybe 80% of the time. So if you want to trade this, you need to move down to the lower time frame, which is the 2 minutes. So let me show you guys how to trade that on the 2 minute. Remember, this is gonna be my stop loss, the high that causes this break of structure. So I drop down to my entry time frame based on the market is pulling back to my entry, to where I'm gonna look for entry. That's why I'm on a 2 minute time frame. Remember when I started this video, I said I'm gonna use the 15 minute and the 2 minute. So let me play chat forward. You guys can see. Let's see if we're gonna take. We have a demand here on the 2 minute. We want to see this demand fell. Then we are in. You guys can see the demand fell, and that demand is gonna be our entry. Let's use this FVG. The demand is gonna be our entry, our stop loss above here. And you're gonna look for the next demand to take your profit. So this is how to trade the supply. From the supply, some people always this is where I always place my stop. From where we began,
the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you.
On the 2-minute our entry time frame.
I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place.
See where I place my stop? I said this always happen like 80% of the time. Once I spot this, the first one, the second one, and the third one at my supply zone, that's a good sign for me. Then I'll be looking for the nearest demand to take profits. So that's how to trade the supply. Where we began, I'm not gonna make this go down really fast. Sometimes when I place a trade in the 2 minutes, I just need to move down to my 15 minutes. Just so you guys can see if only by just following my rules, and you see where I place my stop loss. I'm gonna show you guys this example one more time there.
Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride. Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always
Let me take this out also. So this is our nearest supply. This is the nearest supply that happened. Yeah, this was the nearest supply. Now you see the supply just dropped down to the fresh demand. You know? Let me look for the nearest demand level. So this is the nearest demand. So this demand just got tapped. Let's see if the demand is going to be up. We have the supply here. Let me just label that. I just like to label a lot of demand for supply. Let me have nice demand level at this point. Nice demand level at that point. Let me see if I'm gonna have my confirmation right here. No confirmation, so no check. Check this out. If I just tap into my fresh supply, get CH circle structure. Okay, and then mark this point. That's a very fresh supply zone here. You guys can see how demand always. So for you to avoid all this, you wanna check to see how the last lower, the last higher low at this point. So if only we swept low, this would have been my partial CH, and this would have been my liquidity sweep, and I would have just wait for a drop back down and a pullback, and I joined the trade. So I did not see any of that here. So I was let me just look for the nearest supply. We have a nearest supply on this one. We just need to know when the market change. I mean, now the market is still trending a little bit down. This might just be a pullback really. See, it reacts from this demand zone. When the future market comes back to this demand, let's see if it's gonna hold. So if I see any opportunity, I'm gonna take a sell back down to this demand. Yeah, I have my first clue. I have my first clue right here. Let me just label this. I have this liquidity up here. I just call this place my partial. Just call this place my change of character. So I need a pullback and a drop. So let me show you guys what I'm expecting. And I'm gonna find my entry at this point. If I can't see something like this, then I'm not gonna sell this trade. Okay. This place now be internal CH, and this place is now my internal BOS. This place is my internal BOS. So you guys can see I have 1, 2, 3. Same thing I had at this point, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just waiting for this pullback. I need a pullback. If you have a supply here, this pullback might just happen immediately, but let's see. Try just tap into this demand again. Buyers are in aggressively. So this is where I'm gonna find my entry. Because we have a new demand at this point. This is where I'm gonna find my entry. The price is just making a higher high, low, higher highs. So I just want to see when buyers are out. We have this imbalance right here, so I'm just gonna pay attention to this point. Yep, price just tapped into this level. Wow, shit. We did not have any opportunity to join this one. But I saw something here. I saw this, the US dollar on this one.
I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead.
You guys can see the 2 minutes. The 2 minutes. What happened there at my supply? Price just tapped in the supply and react aggressively. And you guys can see price just took out this other demand because the demand has been tapped a lot of times. So now price is heading to the new demand zone. Please, if you are just joining the live video, keep tapping, keep tapping. Your support matters a lot. So guys, price just tapping the new demand zone and it still keep going. Guys, remember this video is just educational purpose. I'm not a financial advice. So before you do any of this, you need to backtest this a lot. Just sharing this idea with you guys. I've backtested this almost 300 times, I think so. This is the nearest supply at this point. This is the nearest supply that took out this demand. So I'm just going to take this demand out. So as you guys can see, supply is fully intact.
To carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own. We are still kids, but we're so in
The reason why I'm labeling this internal COS is because it's happening inside this large move. It's happening inside this large move. So when you see market slowing down like this, sometimes they tend to drop, but most of the time price tend to rally back to the supply that has the highest displacement. So let's just play price forward to see. We're gonna have the break of structure. Let's come back to this point. This is another example. We did not have a strong close below here, so that's not the confirmed break of structure. We need to see a strong candle close below this line, then we can confirm that's a strong break of structure. Yeah, so now we have see what good always tend to do. Before good moves your direction, you always like to sweep. Good like to sweep. And then you practicing on good. See how good start liquidity. Good to start liquidity. Can just favor this.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals, like animals. Whoa. Anything that you can hide, I can smell your scent. Just like animals, animals, like animals. Whoa. Baby, I'm don't tell no lie, la la la. You can't deny.
We just need to be careful at this time because we have a break below here. That's my dog run it back into this level to grab liquidity. Then reverse again. This same process might just repeat itself again. This same process might just repeat itself again. So that's why they always say what goes down always comes up. So the market is currently searching for a demand at the moment. So I'm just gonna show you when the demand stepped in.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down.
Just can see supply has stayed in control. It's not all the whole supply that we need. Demand has started stepping in. So I'm just going to switch out to this color supply.
Tính mà xem, bạn tốn tiền cho cả ứng dụng phát trực tuyến lẫn ứng dụng nghe nhạc, hoặc chỉ cần trả 79.000 đồng cho YouTube Premium là có cả hai luôn. YouTube Premium dùng thử miễn phí 1 tháng.
You were the shadow to my light. Did you feel us? Another star, you fade away. Afraid our aim is out of sight.
You guys see this supply fell to hold. So the pullback has just begun. So let me show you now that demand, they have stepped in. This is where the demand stepped in. Demand stepped in at this point. This is the last sell candle before the impulse.
Was it all in my fantasy?
So you guys can see it. I just label this place. See demand. So this is where the move happens. That's the key demand. And we have normal demand in this area. You can see for this the demand. But I prefer using this for the demand. So as you guys can see, we have a shift. I need to pay attention one more time again because I just saw something. So price shift. Eventually check out this low. You might be careful of looking to buy. But my confirmation just appeared now. So all I need to do, I need to see where is this reaction from. I need to go back to see if we have the supply level at that point. Might be at this. We have a used supply here, so I need to wait for a full confirmation. You see? I need to wait for a full confirmation. This was not a break of structure. So this was not a break. This was not a proper break of structure, but I had this liquidity. I had this liquidity, and I had this one. This one was labeled a potential. partial. So for me to take this sell, I'm just gonna wait to see this low taken out. You guys remember when I said we had a new fresh demand here? So price just tapped into this new demand and keep going higher, and we have another demand level at this point. You guys should see what price is doing when price gets to demand, when buyers are in charge. So now, if they take out this one, so we know now that buyers are fully in charge. They are not really fully in charge. There's just a pullback. Yeah, that's just a pullback. That might just be a pullback of this break of structure.
What's the trick? I wish I knew. I'm so done with thinking through all the
Just
things
take
I
this
could
out.
have been. And I know
You guys can see how
wanted to.
demand
All it
are
takes is that one look you
active
do,
now.
and I run right back to you.
We have a
Cross
new
the line,
demand zone
and it's
here.
time to say F you. What's the point?
We have a new demand zone at this
When you
point
know
too.
how I'll react, you think you can just take it back, but shit just don't work
You
like
guys can
that.
see how
You're
demand
the
are
drug
in
that
touch.
I'm addicted to, and I want you so bad. Guess I'm
We have a new demand here.
with you.
It's just the same thing happening all over and over again. You just need to pay attention to it. People tend to lose money because they tend to fight the market. If you just follow the market flow, you will make a lot of money from this forex market. Forex is not a scam though. But before, when I started, I lose a lot. I was thinking forex is a scam. I always say forex is a scam, but when I found my edge, I knew that forex was not a scam. I just need to find my edge, to find something to stick to, something to wait for. So now we have this demand. We have this demand right here. I was taken out. We just need to pay attention to it. Okay. So I just tend to keep going higher. I just came into this supply zone I marked there earlier. Let me just keep looking at this point. If I'm gonna see my entry confirmation, then I'm gonna take this trade. No, I haven't seen any of my entry confirmation, so this was the last low. That low you can just label the demand zone. So if this market wanna keep going higher, we'll just tap into this demand zone. Buyers will just go buying. They'll just keep going higher. But if this demand zone fell, price might just be dropping back down to this demand here. This was a fresh demand. Guys, this is just for educational purpose. This is not a live chat. I'm just doing a backtesting on how to trade the supply and demand. We have this first clue. You guys can see this demand has been taken out. So now we have this supply here. I'm just gonna change that to a supply, and this is my liquidity, and this place is my partial CH. So if I have another break of structure here, I'm gonna confirm this sell.
và 59.000 đồng một tháng cho một ứng dụng nghe nhạc và
I'm waiting for one
249.000
more
đồng một
confirmation
tháng
to
cho một ứng
confirm
dụng
the
tập luyện
supply
và
is
nhiều tiền hơn cho các ứng dụng
price
khác
is
quá
heading
là
back to
tốn.
the
Vậy tại sao
supply
không dùng
zone.
YouTube Premium chỉ với 79.000 đồng, tận hưởng
Let me
mọi
just-
lợi ích tương đương và toàn bộ nội dung trên YouTube không gián đoạn, tiết kiệm hơn, khỏi lo đầu ví. YouTube Premium dùng thử miễn phí 1 tháng.
Let me just play price quickly. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Afraid of the big white word.
You guys see
She grew up within her
price refused to take out this
castle
low.
walls.
You guys see why I call this place partial change of character, because there is no break of structure at this point. So we just had a tap into this fresh demand, and you guys can see how buyers defended that level. So I just need to take this to this next supply. There is supply here. The supply and demand is the easiest. I don't know if it's not the most easiest concept. Because when you know when demand are out, supply will take over. When supply are out, demand will take over. So for me, I don't trade in the middle. I only buy from demand, and I only sell from supply. So you guys can see how this saved me a lot of noise. So now you guys can see the demand are struggling in this. So demand took over. Fuck. That was a new scandal there. Man. Demand almost took over from supply, but supply stepped in again. I'm just gonna bring this here. I'm gonna label this my key supply. So I'm gonna take this demand out. I'm gonna delete the demand. I like my chart to be neat so I know what I'm looking at for. So you guys can see this place now is gonna be my partial CH. And this high now is gonna be my liquidity and 4 highs. So you guys can see if we have another break below this point, then I'm gonna keep shorting. I'm gonna change it to a real change of character. It's not gonna be partial change of character anymore, because if I have a break below here, the trend has confirmed. But for now, let's say this place might just be a liquidity. This point might just be a liquidity. This was the last demand, a break of structure. Basically, I just joining the live. Please tap on the live, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We go live here. We do live analysis. We backtest. We study here on this channel. We ask questions. We answer to them. For you to support our channel, we just click on the subscription button and like our video. So for me, I wouldn't have taken this particular sell. I would only sell if the price would have returned to this point. So I wouldn't have rushed to sell this market. So I'm gonna wait to see if we're gonna have a break below this level. Then I will look for my selling opportunity at the pullback. So I have a break below there. So I'm gonna label this place my BOS right now. So all I need price to pull back. Where's the nearest supply? We have a supply here. Oh my god, this is a lot of supply. think I'll go with this supply at this point.
Now it's real. Now that you have me, do you want me still? My kisses and history, they go back a long time. And
So
I'm
this
tired of
space is still
somebody
intact. Maybe in the future, price might just come back to this level. So I'm still gonna watch out for that level. Let's see if we're gonna have a pullback so that I can. Let me check. Because we having a rejection here. Yeah, we have a supply at this point. So we have a demand here. We have a demand here. Just put the demand. We have a supply here. Let's see if that supply is gonna hold. Already we are seeing some selling pressure in here. Second one, then this is the third one. So price might just drop back to this demand one. We have yeah, I saw that price might just drop back to that demand zone based on this my 3 entry level. The first one, the second one, the third one, and the pullback. That's just as easy as that. So this was the pullback I was waiting for. This was the pullback I was waiting for on this one. So the pullback just came to this level, and I saw my criteria. How you guys call it? I saw my confirmation. This is the CH, and this is the internal BOS. So this is the pullback. So you see, I'm just using the same method. So now I can change this place to CH. So this is the CH. This is the break of structure, and you guys can see this is the dollar sign. That's the liquidity. So same thing happening here. We got tapped into the supply. You guys can see as we tap into the supply, sellers stepped in when I saw this rejection, and we had a liquidity grab, a change of character, a BOS. So if only I would have taken this trade, my entry would have been here on this fair value gap on the 2 minutes. Let me just drop down to the 2 minutes to show you guys what I would have been waiting for on the 2 minutes after having this break of structure, because this point is always my stop loss level. That's where I place my stop loss, because I know if price should go above this level that took out this low that caused this break of structure, this selling scenario is over, then buyers are gonna step in. So that's why I like to place my stop loss at that point and my entry as order block or fair value gap. At this point, you can see we have the fair value gap here on our entry time frame, which is the 15. Sorry, on our higher time frame, which is the 15 minutes. Yep, change of character, internal break of structure. Then our next target should have been this demand. So dropping down to the 2 minutes. So this is it on the 2 minutes. Don't forget, this is gonna be my stop loss level, the red arrow. So let me play chart on the 2 minutes. Let's see if we're still gonna have the same thing on the 2 minutes. Guys, don't forget this is the last low. This is the last low on the 2-minute time frame that took out this high. So buyers are still intact on this market. So now we have this other low. So let's see if price is gonna take out this high. This should be a liquidity. If not, price should just drop. Yep, this is what we're gonna be looking at for right now. This is the recent high that took out this point. So we should just be vigilant at this level. We should just be vigilant at this level. As you guys can see, sellers are in. Sellers are beginning to show some sign. Just want to show you guys the exact entry would have taken in this trade. Yeah, we have this sweep above here. So this is the recent low. So this is the imbalance BOS. This is our entry. Our stop loss should be our stop loss should have been so wide. Fuck. The stop loss would have been so wide because we might be targeting this demand 1:3. This is why I always place my stop loss. It's gonna be so wide. Fast forward this thing in the front. See, my stop loss on the 2-minute looks so wide, but on the 15-minute, if you go down to 15 minutes, that's just the normal stop. If only I use this point, you see, the price would have stopped me out. If only I use this high, if only I kept my stop loss here at this point, you see, price would have stopped me out before moving to my direction. So that was where I always set. Let me just take it up again. Yeah, that's where I always set my stop loss. At least we still have 1:3 on this trade. Still a reasonable trade, if only we took this trade live. So you see, we just took this trade from the supply back to demand. So that's how just to trade from demand to supply, from supply to demand. If you don't, some people always go in immediately, price tapped into their supply. Some people always do something like this. For some people, and they will target the demand zone. But for me, I always wait for entry. Sorry, I always wait for confirmation on the 2-minute after having this my time frame. Then I will drop to the 2-minute to look for my entry. So that's the basic idea to trade supply and demand. I hope this video you guys found it useful. If you found this video useful, please just click on the subscribe button and like, share this video. Always come back to watch this video. We do videos like this on this channel. We talk about supply, demand, trend line, a lot of concept here on this channel. Anyone you're interested in, you can always recommend. I'm gonna do a breakdown on that. So this is gonna be the ending of this video. Thank you guys for your time. See you guys on my next video. I hope this video is helpful to you guys. See you.